I recently discovered a really cool hack to play the modes by using the pentatonic scale shapes you already know, and I'm super excited to share it with you. I haven't seen this anywhere else, and in the week or so since I figured it out, it's already made a big impact on how I think about the fretboard. In another video, I showed that there are pentatonic scales sitting conveniently inside each of the 7 major scale modes. And in several videos, I've explained how you can fill in the rectangle to turn a pentatonic scale into one of the modes. This new technique expands on that approach and lets us do the same thing with any part of the pentatonic scale. If you haven't seen my other videos, that's okay. I'm going to make this one self-contained, and I'll provide links to additional videos you can watch afterwards to get an even deeper understanding. The major and minor pentatonic scales share the same shapes, but their tonal centers or roots, shown here in red, are located in different positions. For a moment, let's just focus on the familiar minor pentatonic scale in Form 1. And then in a minute, we'll extend this to all of the other pentatonic shapes. The minor pentatonic scale has a root, a flat third, a natural fourth, a fifth, and a flat seventh. To convert it to one of the minor modes, we'd need to add the second and sixth scale degrees. When we do this to Form 1, we get 3 of the caged system fingerings for the modes. If both notes are natural, as they are here, we have the Dorian mode. If we flatten the sixth, we have the Aeolian mode or natural minor scale. And if we further flatten the second, we get the Phrygian mode. This all works because the 3 minor modes all contain the minor pentatonic scale, and we're just adding back in the second and sixth scale degrees. And the 3 major modes all contain the major pentatonic scale, and when we use this trick, we're filling in the 4th and 7th scale degrees. This leaves the Locrian mode out of luck, but let's face it, Locrian kind of sucks anyway. For more on where the modes come from and what I mean by brightness ordering, check out the video linked above. Okay, let's go back to the bare pentatonic scale for a moment. In another video, I showed that each of the 5 pentatonic forms can be broken down into 2 smaller shapes that I dubbed the rectangle and the stack. In Form 1, the rectangle sits in the top 2 strings, with a stack tucked underneath it, and there's the top half of a rectangle on the low E string. To visualize this, let's separate out the rectangle and the stack. Now, if we add back the second and sixth scale degrees to form a full mode, they always fall inside the rectangle. If both notes are shifted to the right in the rectangle, as they are here, you get the Dorian mode. The corresponding position in the stack is just to the left of its top 2 strings. If we flatten the sixth to make the Aeolian mode, the bottom note inside the rectangle shifts to the left, and the bottom note next to the stack wraps around to the right-hand side like that. If we now flatten the second to make the Phrygian mode, the top note in the stack slides to the left, and the remaining note to the left of the stack wraps around to the other side. The exact same thing works with the major modes. If we start with the major pentatonic scale and add a natural 7 and sharp 4 to create the Lydian mode, we get 2 notes shifted over to the right inside the rectangle, and 2 notes up and to the left of the stack. When we lower the sharp 4, the lower note in the rectangle shifts to the left, and the lower note outside the stack wraps around to the right, giving us the Ionian mode or major scale. When we flatten the 7 to create the Mixolydian mode, the top note in the rectangle shifts to the left, and the remaining note to the left of the stack wraps around to the right. This, of course, works for all 5 of the standard pentatonic fingerings because each one of them is made up of rectangles and stacks. Let's go back to the minor pentatonic, this time in Form 4. Here the stack falls across the G and B strings, so its shape is warped, but the same note placements occur in the exact same way. To make the Dorian mode, we put the extra notes over to the right inside the rectangle and up and to the left of the stack. We flatten the 6 to get the Aeolian mode or natural minor scale, and the notes shift exactly as they did before. The lower note in the rectangle shifts to the left, and the lower note left of the stack moves over to the right side. When we flatten the seconds to get the Phrygian mode, the upper note in the rectangle shifts to the left, and the remaining note to the left of the stack wraps around to the right. To do this with any pentatonic fingering pattern, we need to identify the positions of the rectangle and stack inside each one, which is easy since the rectangle is just 2 adjacent strings with 3 fret intervals, and the stack is 3 adjacent strings with 2 fret intervals. Now, sometimes the shape of the rectangular stack is warped by the smaller interval between the G and B strings, so we do have to watch out for that in forms 2, 3, and 4. And sometimes the rectangle and stack shapes do sort of fall off the edge of the guitar, but that's actually a feature, not a bug. Let's say you pick up a 7 or 8 string guitar for the first time. If you know this system, you can instantly extend your pentatonic scales and your major scale modes to the new strings just by extending the rectangles and stacks. Okay, let's summarize. Every pentatonic fingering can be broken down into 2 simple shapes, the rectangle and the stack. The root of the scale is in a different location depending on whether the scale you're playing is major or minor. Since the pentatonic scale has 5 notes, to turn it into a major scale mode, you need to add 2 notes. Both of these notes fall inside the rectangle and they cluster around the stack in predictable ways. Let's start with the rectangle. If we order the modes by brightness or how major they sound, the ordering groups them together like this. The brightest minor and major modes are Dorian and Lydian respectively, and they both have the extra notes shifted to the right. Next are the Aeolian and Ionian modes, or the natural minor and major scales. They have the staggered pattern. And then the darkest minor and major modes are Phrygian and Mixolydian, and they have the extra notes shifted to the left. So when we're playing the rectangle, the brighter the mode, the more the fill-in notes are shifted to the right. When we're playing the stack, the Dorian and Lydian modes have the extra notes up and to the left. The Aeolian and Ionian modes, or natural minor and major scales, have a staggered pattern. And finally, the Phrygian and Mixolydian modes have the extra notes down and to the right. So the summary for the stack is that the brighter the mode, the more the surrounding notes are shifted up and to the left. A few commenters have suggested that this is overcomplicating things, but I think the opposite is true. Using the rectangle and the stack leads to easier ways to memorize the 5 pentatonic forms and to connect them together horizontally. My other video covers that in depth. And being able to instantly shift from a pentatonic scale to a related mode is a great tool for improvisation, both because it lets you mix up your scales and because it gives you a natural hierarchy of notes that makes it easier to choose which ones to emphasize in your lines. My video on the cage system covers that in full detail. If you'd like a downloadable PDF cheat sheet with all of the concepts you just saw, check out the link in the video description. And if this video helped you on your journey, please leave a comment, hit the like button, and make sure you're subscribed to this channel. And sign up for the Fret Science mailing list at fretscience.com.